So, tell me something terrible. Hello? Okay. It's working.
Okay.
It's all working.
It feels weird to record this early.
It does?
Yeah.
It's good for us.
Remember that one time that we recorded that extra Halloween bonus when I had time in life? And it was broad daylight, super awkward.
Kind of like our wedding dance.
Yes. Broad daylight, super awkward.
Except during the podcast, we probably weren't sober.
100% probably not, no.
But
we had a dry-ass wedding.
We did. Anyway.
And it was really painful.
Can I shut your candle?
Yeah.
It's going
to pick up on the mics.
It probably sounds horrible yet.
Okay.
Anyway, you ready to start?
Yep. Hi.
We're part 2,
yep.
right? Okay.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are.
Also, your girl realized she made a mistake. Top of the last episode. So we're going to, start now.
Starting with our...
Pretty sure the creepy incelly one was not Anton LaVey. I'm pretty sure it was Aleister Crowley.
I literally named the episode off the non-creepy one.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, he's probably creepy too, but the one he's probably creepy, and the other one is problematic and creepy. He's the one, Aleister Crowley. He's a really famous Satanist too, who is creepier and probably worse than Anton LaVey.
So creepy Crowley?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, creepy Crowley. And then also wrong.
Are you going to talk about him this episode?
No.
Oh, damn it. There goes the podcast title name. I should have named the last one Creepy Crawley.
And then also I got the name of the social worker who interviewed the children wrong. The lady's name that started with a V, whatever. I think she was on a different case because this one, it's not.
Okay.
Whatever I said. It's a different
All
lady.
The corrections.
Yeah, only 2 corrections because your girl's been listening to this stuff for so long, eventually all of everything gets crossed.
Well, this one you have, because we're going to do however many episodes on it, it is more information than usual.
Yes.
I'm going to need you to button up the yawning over there.
Oh my gosh, not again.
We're recording early to alleviate this. This is called Being in Your 30s. Before we came up here to record this, it's 7 o'clock at night. I started a pot of decaf coffee because I knew it was going to sound good when we were done with this. But if I have caffeine, I'm pretty much impervious to caffeine, but just for I don't need it, so went decaf. But coffee's going to sound good.
That's going to be,
Some
gotta have your
like
evening dessert coffee.
Yeah, some people like tea. I just like coffee.
Yeah, you're pure American. You can't do the tea.
It's fall now. I iced coffee for 9 months out of the year. Then 3 months of hot coffee.
Iced coffee, all 12.
Well, if I'm going to drink it...
Iced coffee's life.
If it's daytime, I'm okay with iced coffee.
Efficiency, right? You don't have to
keep heating it up.
Yeah, keep heating it up because you forget about it. It's fine. You can set it in ice. It stays cold.
Can you start talking...
And you can shotgun that
Can you
shit.
start saying all the wrong names again?
Yep. Let's fuck it up again. I made sure I was better about this
So
one.
this is episode 111, by the way.
Ooh, not 666. The devil's number.
No.
Damn.
No, 111.
So I'm sure there's synchronicity there somewhere. So we're going to continue on this Satanic Panic theme. So This is what it had started ramping up with Michelle Remembers.
Yes.
This is kind of like the nail in the coffin
Scott
situation.
remembers.
Scott remembers. Elizabeth remembers, or whatever you called her later on through the episode. Yeah.
I don't remember, yes. I remember saying it incorrectly, but I don't remember how I butchered it.
I don't remember either.
I just know it seemed very schemy. To sell a story.
Don't worry, we'll get there. So, all my yawns
Do I
are
need
gone.
to go make a shot of espresso for you?
Maybe. Just mainline
We still have not done an espresso martini since we've got an espresso machine.
Disappointment. Tonight, I'll have you make me a decaf espresso martini.
No.
You can't
use
do
coffee
espresso. Oh
in
my
an
God. It's
espresso
literally, no, it's fine. You're right.
Do you have decaf espresso beans? Because I don't.
I'm pretty sure they don't make those.
I don't think so either.
No.
I just put some rocks in there for you. Anyway.
That's fine.
Okay, good.
So it has to be the right rocks, though. So in this...
Is that a meth joke? I don't get it.
No, it's a crystal joke.
Oh, okay.
Which is one
Crystal
step
meth?
away from
Yes.
Satanism.
And crystal
Which is
meth.
one step the other way from Satanism.
Okay, good.
So, in the summer of 1983, Judy Johnston decided to send her 2-year-old son to the McMartin Preschool.
Judy Johnson?
Judy Johnston.
Okay.
So this preschool, McMartin Preschool, was a
Judge
preschool.
Judith Johnson residing. Sorry.
Oh, this woman. We'll get there. So the preschool is located in Manhattan Beach, California, and that it had been in business for 20 years and managed to win several awards and accolades, building up a positive reputation in the community.
This isn't me doubting your factual. I know you've proven that there's some inaccuracies. There's a Manhattan Beach in California?
Yeah.
Okay. That's just me not knowing that.
I didn't know that either.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is there Staten Island in California? Just kidding.
There's a lot of Springvilles.
Well, there's Springvilles everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. So it opened in the 1960s by Virginia McMartin, who was succeeded by her daughter, Peggy Bucky, who took over administration.
Okay.
Okay.
Peggy Bucky.
Peggy Bucky.
Okay.
So Peggy and Virginia also employed Peggy's son, Ray Bucky.
Okay.
Okay. So he was a newly graduated early education teacher, age 23, when this first started.
Fresh out of college.
Yep.
Okay.
So they also employed 4 other teachers at the time. And one day, Judy Johnson insisted that her 2-year-old son had come home from school with a sore and red bumhole.
From daycare?
From daycare.
I was gonna say. Okay.
She had progressively become more concerned about her son's bum
Diaper rash.
and his bowel movements. Yep.
Okay.
Which had become painful.
Okay.
So as any concerned parent would do, Judy decided to call the Manhattan Beach police and tell them that Ray Bucky had sodomized her child under the pretense of, quote, taking his temperature.
That is a large leap to make there, Judy.
Also,
maybe you sent him to daycare, so he got diaper rash, and he probably went on formula, so now he was having a hard time shitting.
Probably. Or he's 2. You probably switched him to, like, milk.
Whatever.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
anything. Or he developed lactose intolerant. Also, we should probably have led with, hey, trigger warning.
Trigger.
There's mention of really horrible stuff.
Yep.
Spoiler alert.
The podcast is called Tell Me Something Terrible and it's marked explicit. You know what you're in for. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had also claimed that her estranged husband was also sodomizing the family dog and one of her other children.
Wait, her estranged?
Estranged,
Okay.
like divorced. Not estranged.
All I heard was
Estranged.
she also claimed her strange husband.
No, estranged. Like going through divorce,
Yeah.
separated.
I would consider myself strange. I don't think I'm estranged.
No. So did you catch the second half of that though?
Yeah, he's doing it too.
The dog to the dog. And
Wait, Judy?
no, her husband claimed Judy called the police.
Yeah, on Ray.
On Ray.
Yes.
And then also later claimed that her husband, her
Yes.
ex-husband, was also sodomizing the family dog and one of their children.
Okay, Judy has been watching a lot of TV.
We're gonna
feel like-
we're gonna get to it.
She's deep.
So
Okay.
yeah, she hook, line, and sinker
Okay, good.
the
Okay.
Satanic Panic.
Let's go, Judy.
So naturally, the police arrested Ray. He
For
sodomizing a child.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
all the proof.
Yeah. So he was interviewed and released from custody that day due to lack of evidence.
No shit.
Yeah. So this only infuriated Judy, who just went up the chain of command.
Okay.
So we have the wrong name, guys. It's not Karen.
It's
Judy.
Yeah.
So after hearing of the release of Ray Bucky, she then wrote a letter to the district attorney claiming that her son had been part of a satanic ritual involving the preschool employees.
And Ray had no ties to the Church of Satan or whatever, I'm assuming.
No, he was just some regular
He's just
dude.
a dude who's 23, fresh out of college.
Just hold on.
And this lady wants to ruin his life because her baby has diaper rash.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then it escalated from her son being sodomized to the whole school's on it, also satanic rituals.
Okay.
Yep. So
Cool.
in response, the police wrote their own letter and that letter was sent to 200 parents of current and past students.
Saying, has your kid ever had diaper rash?
No.
Okay.
It said
It didn't say that. Huh?
no. It was kind enough to start out saying that there was an investigation to
And this
determine.
is the one famous place you said that was like.
Yes, this is like there was like Michelle Remembers that planted
Yeah,
the
yeah.
seed, and
And
then
then-
this that was the nail in the coffin.
What was the name of this?
McMartin
Oh,
Preschool
McMartin Preschool. Okay, yep. That was what I was trying to figure out.
in California.
You mentioned it 9 days ago when we recorded.
Yep.
It was a little fuzzy.
So in this letter, it was kind enough to start out saying that it was an investigation to determine if the allegations were true or not, and urged parents to question their children of any abuse, which includes, but is not limited to, he or she, this is a direct quote from the letter,
Okay.
he or she has been a witness to any crime, or if he or she has been a victim. Our investigation indicates that possible criminal acts include oral sex, fondling of genitals, buttocks or chest area, and sodomy, possibly committed under the presence of, quote, taking the child's temperature. Also, photos may have been taken of children without their clothing. Any information from your child regarding having ever observed Ray Bucky to leave a classroom alone with a child during any nap period, or if they were ever observed Ray Bucky tie up a child, is important. And then they were asked to send back an enclosed form, but urged them to keep matters to themselves because of the, quote, highly emotional effect it would have on the area if it got out.
I like how they named Ray Bucky.
Yeah.
In the letter.
Specifically.
That seems like leading the witness hard.
Okay. I'm glad that you're picking up on that.
Okay, cool.
So... the parents were also told that they could reach out to a local nonprofit social services organization that the DA's office was working with for their children to be interviewed.
Okay.
So worried parents naturally started bringing their children to what is called the Children's Institute International. And that was, the investigation was being headed by a social worker who was, and she was described by some as a, quote, unlicensed therapist.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Just a lady in a cubicle.
Her name was Key McFarlane.
Okay. She seems like she's probably more towards... I feel like she's going to be more on Judy's side than not.
So, Key had stumbled upon a theory called childhood sexual abuse accommodation syndrome.
Childhood sexual abuse account. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, not really catchy acronym.
No, it's not.
So this is where she interpreted this theory as children would never disclose sexual abuse, ever. You must coax it out of them by being charming and sweet.
Okay. So taking a page out of the sexual abuser playbook?
Yeah. Okay. Groom the children into giving you answers.
Yeah, lure them into a false sense of security.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So her theory was that these kids had close and caring relationships with their parents, but the parents don't realize what kids can go through, and the kids were using the only resources they had by keeping quiet to protect their family by not talking about sexual abuse that was happening in their lives.
Yeah, because most of it was probably coming from their family. Anyway.
Also, kids naturally, these are 2-year-olds.
Yeah. What's 2-year-old going to say?
Also, do you really think that a 2-year-old is going to have this train of thought? That at 2 years old, you're literally going to think to yourself, oh my God, it's my responsibility to keep my family safe so I can't talk about Uncle Billy touching my privates in the bathtub? Like, no, they're 2.
Yeah.
No thought.
No.
They don't even know what's going on.
No.
That's why they do it, because they're predators and horrible humans.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But in this case, I think Ray's just been falsely accused. So far.
We'll get to it.
So far.
So, I'm glad you're catching things
hoping
on.
Ray's not secretly a horrible person who is just misidentified as a Satanist when he's just a pedophile, but, we'll see.
So, you don't know that much about the McMartin case then?
No, I don't. What do you think? I fucking read this in my spare time?
I don't know.
I
just thought at some point I would have brought it up.
Listen, there's enough shit in this world, just day-to-day life, that I will predominantly consume things that are net positive. Like my music's kind of like dark. I get that. Like it kind of ebbs and flows.
Spotify did say you were dark and angsty, I believe was your
which
vibe.
Is fine. I just, you got
and mine was not.
You just have to listen to emotions you don't feel every day.
That's because
anyway, I know
you're a little bit of a sociopath, so you can experience empathy through music.
You just think a not depressed person is a sociopath.
I'm not.
What?
That depressed.
I know, but you think a not depressed person has something wrong with them. I'm just saying.
Fucking neurotypicals.
I typically listen.
It's not that I'm depressed. It's that I experience a wide range of emotions daily.
Hourly. I'm just saying I typically listen to things like that are positive or sports related or stuff I'm like passionate about or want to learn more about. I would not listen to horrible shit like about this case, like because I wanted to.
I think
that's never going to be a
the
topic.
worst part is this is not the worst things I've listened to. I think
aware.
The worst was probably when I was listening to a 9/11 one, and they dropped it in audio, and they were like, "I'm going to let you listen to this," and it was just little sirens going off, like ree, 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 all through the whole city, and every single one of those sirens was a dead firefighter.
That's terrible. Mm-hmm. Why? See, this is what I'm saying. Sorry. People are turning this off because they don't want all this net negative in their life.
Sorry.
We're just supposed to be here to learn something.
It is really
make
sad.
a few inappropriate jokes and move on.
Okay.
Not just make a cloudy day just the cloudiest day. Anyway.
I'm fine.
That's
anyway,
good. Can you keep telling your story?
So my really
and then
horrible
not be
story.
shocked because I don't know about this Satanistic pedophile accusation ring.
Okay.
From 40 years ago, because that's when 1983 was almost. You're welcome.
No. No.
See? How's it feel? Now your day's been ruined a little.
Thank you. Oh, we're almost 40. So,
not true.
Anyway, the childhood sexual abuse accommodation syndrome, where the children are, protecting the parents because they're two and think like that.
Yes.
So the children being
for the greater good.
Yeah. So the children that were being interviewed were between the ages of 2 and 14, and the bulk of which didn't even attend the school while Bucky was a teacher there.
No, he just started like 2 months ago. Sounds
Gets
like
better.
Great. They all said, yeah, we know this Ray Bucky dude's the worst.
No. Judy Johnson, her son, wasn't even in Bucky's class.
Then why did
Ray had never even seen the child?
He was probably the only male teacher.
He was the only male teacher.
Fucking Judy.
But then it escalated to all of them because at some point the investigation gets so big, and then Key has an epiphany and goes, "There's no way." It was Key or the prosecutors. Anyway, they all came to the conclusion that there's no way that it could have been Ray alone. Everybody had to have known about it and let it happen and be a part of it.
Of course.
Yep.
Because there's diaper rash on one child and a crazy Judy.
With a child that has bowel issues already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our kid had diaper rash. I think most kids do. Mm-hmm. That's why there's 74 products for it in every fucking store.
Yeah. And it was specifically around his bum. So she had been checking this child's ass for weeks up at this point.
Yeah.
And she's also convinced that his bowel movements hurt because he was being sodomized.
Judy.
Yeah.
Judy's an anti-vaxxer.
Judy's a schizophrenic.
Is she?
Yes.
We get there?
Yes.
Wait, how old's Judy? Is she still alive?
No. We'll
She's
get
not?
there. We're going to get
She
there.
had a 2-year-old, 1983.
We're going to get there.
Oh, God. Judy.
So Ray had said he had never seen the child. He'd never even seen it.
True statement.
So...
And most 2-year-olds kind of all look alike anyway. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, I know that 2-year-old. He's the one with...
he looks like the same white
He's the one that's been here for 2 weeks and he's never shit. Like,
yeah.
No, yeah, you don't know that.
So, Key, the unlicensed therapist, would present the children with sock puppets, regular puppets, stuffed animals, and anatomically correct dolls. She would make a game telling the children they didn't need to tell me, you don't need to tell me what happened. Just show me where on the dolls it happened.
Okay.
You've never heard this is where the bad man touched me joke?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, this is where it comes from.
I wouldn't say that's a good,
Oh, no, it's not a good joke.
Yeah. I would say that's an infamous...
It peaked in 2001, that joke. So... So she would go on to ask the kids if they had any, quote, yucky secrets.
Okay.
And then they could tell her and they could trust her. And their friends had already told her their yucky secrets.
So she manipulated children.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yes. These are literally good cop, bad cop tactics that are forced to confessions from criminals that usually result in false confessions. And she's doing this to interview
children.
Toddlers.
Yeah.
Not just 12-year-olds, toddlers.
Yes.
That can barely even fucking talk.
They can't tie their fucking shoes.
No. And
I wipe my own ass.
And like you said, like when we were discussing the last one, when we were discussing in the last episode, you're like, oh, it was probably like a misplaced word here or there, you know, and the kids picked up on it.
Yeah.
No, this was pushing, and they rode on the piggyback of like, well, we have to believe the children. Bitch, this wasn't the children.
No, it's just a
bad
unlicensed therapist.
In fact, the children literally would spend half of the interview telling her, I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing like that happened. Like, they were like, no.
We just go to school.
And it was literally her being like,
lady,
now I know this happened. Yeah, could you fucking imagine someone handing me, like, I would be pissed if I found out that some strange woman handed my child a doll with a dick on it. Yeah. I'd be like, she's 2. She doesn't know what that is. I'd be pissed.
This is Barbie and this is Dick.
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh. I would be mad if my child had to go through this interview.
I want to know what's her name, Key? Mm-hmm. Where does Key get an anatomically correct doll to show children? Is that in a catalog for fake therapists somewhere?
I don't know, but could you imagine the kind of list that shit would get on, like you would get put on if you tried to Amazon anatomically correct baby doll?
I hope she made a giant dick out of clay and stuck it to a Ken doll. Like just an aggressively large one so the kids wouldn't miss it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then he stands up using it like a tripod.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's bad on every level.
It is.
I can't even respond to it.
It's good.
Hope you've apologized enough.
Yep, I have.
So anyway, this obviously led to outrageous accusations. So now we're going to go through that list of wild accusations.
Terrific.
Yep. The sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. Yep. Ray could fly.
What?
Ray could fly.
Okay.
Yep.
Like Superman.
Like fly. Yes, like Superman. Like
oh, yeah, fucking right, he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they saw other witches fly.
Yeah.
Yep.
When did Hocus Pocus come out?
95-ish.
Okay.
So they traveled in hot air balloons.
That's plausible. Mm-hmm. You can rent those.
Yeah. Peggy, who is the admin, had, quote, drilled a child under the arms.
With like a Black & Decker drill?
Yeah.
Okay.
That accusation came from Judy.
Judy's got all sorts of accusations.
Yes, and then it just got fed into the children because they'd be like, did you see this happen?
I think there'd be scars.
No, they clean them up before they give them back to the parents.
Drilled into the... Okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah, but they clean them up before they take them back to the parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can clean up scar tissue, those witches.
So there were tunnels under the school where the kids were taken down to or flushed down a toilet to get to.
Harry Potter style.
Yeah.
Chamber of Secrets.
Now we know where J.K. Rowling got the inspiration from.
Big fan.
The Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
So they were, and in these tunnels, they were forced to participate in secret sex rituals and animal sacrifices. Mm-hmm. And then one child claimed they saw Ray cut the ear off.
I was going to make a really horrible joke about don't look in the eye of my snake.
Oh, please don't.
It's a little Chamber of Secrets joke there. No.
One-eyed basilisk.
Yeah.
So one child claimed that he saw Ray cut off a rabbit's ear. Another said that they were forced to drink that rabbit's blood. These are all they're corroborating each other's stories.
These are from the kids?
These are from the children. These are things that they said the children said.
Okay.
They never mentioned what questions were asked prior. Yes.
They have.
Oh, we're going to get to it.
Great.
So.
And then what happened? Did they drink the blood? Uh-huh. See, he said he drank the blood. The kid's just nodding, going, uh-huh, just to get done with you, crazy lady.
This is literally what
Terrific.
happens.
Yeah. Well, it's because any logical person can figure that out by listening to it.
Yeah. Another
40 years later.
Another claim. We're going to get to it.
Okay.
Another child claimed that they saw Ray beat a horse to death with a baseball bat.
Is there a lot of horses at the daycare?
Southern.
Was this a farm? There's rabbits and horses and secret chambers from toilets.
Yeah,
what's going on here?
They just pluck a.
What is going on
Pluck
here?
a horse from the beach. Just random passerbys be like, "We need your horse."
It's
thank
probably
you.
Pegasus. Ray, he can't actually fly. He has a flying horse.
Oh,
yeah, because he's a wizard.
Yeah.
Do they call him a wizard or is he just a man witch?
No.
We've had that. We've already had that podcast.
So, teachers took the children to graveyards to dig up bodies.
Excellent.
Yep.
It's a good workout digging.
And then they were taken to, there's a whole, movie about digging holes too.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Curly hair.
Yep.
I've never seen that movie.
Me neither.
Nor have I read the book.
Me neither.
Well, we're not
Weird.
going to.
No.
If you listen back to our podcast, we say we're going to go listen and watch, and we never do.
Absolutely not.
We watch Guys Grocery Games. That's literally all we do. And watch Ghost Adventures.
I'm going through a depressive episode right now, and it's my comfort show.
And it's got 28 seasons, thankfully.
Yes, we're like 5 behind. So they were also taken to car washes and an airport and flown to a different location to perform orgies and satanic ritual abuse.
How long do the parents leave them here? It's
6 hours.
Oh, boy. That's efficient.
Yeah.
This is
It must be
insane.
Private.
This is
planes.
I give D Key, what's her name? Key?
Yeah, Key.
She's very creative. Or the kids are, because
The kids are.
children.
Yeah. Who subconsciously, especially if some of these are teenagers, pick up on the media and like the narrative that's been in the media for the last 3 years.
Yeah, big 4-year-old saying there, yeah, we went on an airplane to go to an orgy. I can see
Yeah.
a 4-year-old spouting
And
that
knowing exactly what the fucking orgy is.
off. Or a plane is.
Yeah, like...
They're 4.
Yeah, like this...
A is for apple, homie. Like, they don't know shit about shit.
No, it's...
O is not for
And
orgy
you know
when you're
it's
4.
yes, and you know it's traumatizing to these poor children.
No shit. I'm traumatized.
Could you imagine?
Over here.
Could you imagine being like Lily's age and having to explain? That's
No.
your sex talk? That's your sex talk.
No. She's awake right now, so maybe just stop screaming about it.
So one parent, a very outspoken Bob Curry.
I don't think we can name this episode O is for orgy. It'll get flagged for sure.
So one parent, a very outspoken.
S is for Sodom. No.
That might get flagged too.
Yeah.
P is for penis.
No.
A is for anatomically correct doll.
Yes.
Ken doll. So a very outspoken Bob Curry, who was one of the parents, told media in interviews that they knew the parents.
They knew.
Yeah, the parents knew. They knew that it was Satanism when the children started talking about robes and candles in Episcopal churches, and they decided then that it was definitely
Are Episcopal
satanic.
churches known like I've seen this Episcopal church. They don't seem very Satan-y.
No,
I don't
they
know.
look a little more about Jesus.
They're like, aren't they like in the same vein as like a Presbyterian? Like, aren't they all kind of like,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
We're making leaps and bounds here.
So some children said that they were taken to local churches and forced to watch and participate in animal sacrifices performed by the priests there.
Okay.
One child, when shown the images of a possible abusers, selected an image of Chuck Norris, insisting that he was involved with the rituals and abuse as well.
Did they bring him in to testify?
No! Wouldn't that have been great?
Yeah, Walker.
I think he might have had an alibi. Just a thought.
I love that they included a picture of fucking Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, next to Ray.
Yeah, which one of these men touched you? Oh, the bearded guy. Yeah. He looks jacked. I need one of those total body systems he's always selling on the TV.
So, obviously, they were also taken to go see the Goat Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get Satan in there
Until
somewhere.
Chuck Norris killed him.
Chuck Norris just roundhouse kicked him to the neck.
Is this where all the Chuck Norris jokes started?
Yes.
Okay. They could have started really dark.
We don't know. We got to go back in the archives.
Yeah.
So there was some that said that they played the game called Naked Movie Star, where children were forced to undress and be photographed, except this literally stemmed from a schoolyard chant. Quote, "What you say is what you are. You're a naked movie star."
Okay.
So this is literally just the worst form of yes-anding imaginable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a horrible chant. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be better than what you say, like the sticks to me, like what you say to me sticks to you, like bounces off of me and sticks to you, like glue. I'm rubber, I'm glue.
Yeah, whatever.
What you say, yeah. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
So clearly, wow, that was really hard. Also, the edible really hit.
Good.
So I slaughtered it.
That's fine. I'm still just trying to figure out why you would claim are children chanting that they're naked movie stars anyway? Like it's probably not just...
Well, it's like the cootie thing too.
Yeah, it's probably not specific to this daycare,
Yeah.
but it's still weird.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we used to do the circle, circle, dot, dot. Now you have the cootie shot.
Yeah.
And now that I'm a grown-ass adult, I realize those were boobs.
Yep.
We were drawing boobs on people's hands and calling them cootie shots. So, look, the 80s and 90s
Context
were
is,
wild.
a little strange.
Yeah. So if a child refused to admit or go along with the accusations during the interview process, which happened nearly every time, like
They were
I'd said.
giving candy.
No, Key would, no, worse. If they weren't giving her the information or barely speaking at all, because most of them barely even spoke
Yeah,
during
because
the
they didn't
interviews.
know the words she was saying.
Yeah. Key would go and say things like, "You must be dumb," and asking the child, "Well, what good are you?" And one 5-year-old boy who refused to say he was or witness to any abuse, Key told him, "You're just a scaredy cat."
Okay, so now Key's a bully. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
Like I said, literally good cop, bad cop, except she is both.
Is she? She's not the schizophrenic one. It's the other.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Judy.
Judy's the mother who's a schizophrenic. Key
He's
is
just
just
manipulative
a
and
social. She's a social worker.
So she social worker. Okay.
Yeah, a sociopath worker.
Yeah.
So the police interview tactics were no better, crafted in similar coercive manners. One detective straight up asking one child, Did he take your underpants off? Can you say yes? Say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good investigation work. Mm-hmm. Where was this at?
California.
California cops in the 80s? Notoriously good. Okay.
Los Angeles cops. In
Really?
The 80s.
Well, I didn't want to make any accusations.
Tried to broaden it a little bit. Let me specify
At least
for you.
at least-
Los Angeles County
At
police
least the
officers.
movie star thing they're in LA.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
makes
he could have.
They make a little more sense, like the fact. Yeah, Chuck Norris could have been. He's probably his kid might go there.
Ooh. Does he have kids?
I don't fucking know.
Who cares? So all of this is taped.
Visually?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How
after
uncomfortable is that footage?
so after interviews, this woman, they have clips of them. You can watch any documentary and they will show you like minute long
Horrible
clips
clips.
of
Ugh.
yeah.
Hard no, bub.
So after the interviews, this woman would walk out to the waiting rooms to horrified parents who sometimes had their other children with them and just bluntly tell them to your face, your child had been sexually abused with no physical evidence.
Great.
Yeah, she would take them into a separate room. She would interview them for 2 hours.
Jesus Christ, lady.
Yeah. And then walk out and in front of these to their faces, your child had been sexually assaulted at school when you were at work. Good job.
There's not a lot of podcasts where I just want to stop talking so you can get through this so I don't have to keep listening to it.
I'm sorry.
It's not because of you. It's because I just hate everything about this currently. Okay.
Well, this was your idea. Just remember that.
It was not my fucking idea. This is Beth's idea.
No, the whole thing.
Oh, the whole podcast?
Yeah.
No, this is Beth's idea. I blame you. You better be just on cloud 9 right now.
So the parents were shown these interviews, these taped interviews,
Okay.
walking away convinced that their
Oh
child
my
were
God,
telling them
no,
the actual
shut
events
the
had
fuck
happened.
up. Were they edited? Mm-mm. They're just sitting there being like, oh my, okay.
Yep. And thus the quote, "Believe the children" campaign was just amplified further.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. No, I'm just here
Does
to
it
listen.
sound familiar at all? Hashtag save the children.
Yeah.
It comes from the same moral panic.
Okay.
So by 1984, Key had interviewed nearly 400 children, making claims that there had been 360 children that had been abused and forced to participate in satanic ritual abuse.
It's a good percentage, Key.
So
Is the place just shut down by then?
oh yeah,
Okay.
because
Yeah. Okay.
all of them are arrested and none of them can post bail
Okay.
because it was sat that high.
Well, they're
So they're all in
flight
jail.
risk because they can fly.
Oh, that's true. God, I hope that they put them in the basement dungeons. They should have learned something from the Salem witch trials. We know that's the only way you can keep a familiar inside that thing.
Right?
So anyway, they needed physical evidence to corroborate all of the testimony.
How'd that go?
So what they did is find themselves a doctor, medical expert.
Okay. Quote unquote.
Enter Dr. Astrid Hager. So Dr. Hager was an expert in sexual abuse trauma.
Okay.
She took photos of some of the little girls' interviews, their vaginal areas.
Okay.
Yep. Poor children, because, they hadn't gone through enough already.
Yep. Well, now they can say that they've had people take pictures of them naked. So
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And I think the worst part is, this is obviously needs to be done for proper investigation of actual
Yeah, but
sexual
you've already grilled
assault
these kids for 2 hours to make them falsely confess.
over something that's never happened.
Yeah.
This is traumatizing for someone who's actually gone through it, where they can say this is happening so we can find the guy. This never happened.
No, the kids don't know what's going on.
Yep. So this was to determine the obvious evidence that there had been blunt force trauma caused to the regions, and that it was caused by penetration. So now you have child witnesses, therapists, police, the DA, and now a doctor all saying that these allegations are true. So investigations continue in an effort to find that much needed but ever elusive physical evidence. Police investigated the preschool grounds in an attempt to find evidence of these tunnels.
Tunnels, chambers.
So they excavated
Dead horses.
the grounds several times.
Okay.
And only found evidence of old buildings, like old rubble from buildings on the property before the school was built.
Shocking.
So there was a concrete slab that had pulled the more suspicious, people insisting that teachers filled the tunnels. So everything that could be dug up and dated was from about 1930s to 1940s. So there was just this slab that had sewer going through it.
Okay.
And they were convinced that that must have been where the tunnels were at.
Okay.
So pre-trial lasted from 1984 to 1987, and the plan was to bring charges against all 7 employees of the McMartin Preschool. At first, the group was being charged with just a dozen charges and then 115 counts of child abuse, which expanded again to 321 counts involving 48 children.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so the DA initially claimed that there was enough evidence to convict all of them. By the time the pretrial had finished, the number of children testifying dropped from 360 to 41 testifying before a grand jury.
Okay.
The defense brought in an expert on interviewing children to testify the McMartins. He was extremely critical of McFarland's techniques, calling them improper and coercive and problematic, and that adults did more of the talking than the children even did in the tapes.
Yeah. It's a very reasonable assessment.
Yeah, so now we're gonna get to Judy.
Okay.
In 1986, mid-trial, your girl Judy Johnston died from complications from alcohol abuse, and turns out she was schizophrenic.
Okay.
This fact was kept from the prosecution. The prosecution kept this fact from the defense.
Oh, that she was a schizophrenic?
That she was schizophrenic. So now the person who started this and her child could not be interviewed, could not be taken to court to testify.
Okay.
And
so who's pursuing this legal action at this point then?
All the other parents.
Okay.
And the state.
Okay.
So that same year, the lead prosecution left the case, selling the rights to his story to Hollywood.
Naturally.
And then later interviewed on national television saying that the evidence is flawed and the McMartin group was factually innocent.
Okay.
So 2/3 of the way through the pretrial, the guy was like, this is fucked. You guys can do it yourself. I'm not going down with this ship.
Yeah.
It's a lawyer with some morals. So later, a new DA dropped the charges for 5 of the teachers, including Virginia McMartin, saying that the evidence was incredibly weak. But the other 2, Peggy and Ray, there was allegedly enough evidence against just them for some reason.
Okay.
So at the end of the pretrial, Virginia had lost her home and emptied her savings account trying to pay for her own defense. Charges against Peggy Ann Bucky, the mom, and Ray Bucky, the son, still stood. There were 65 counts total. And despite all this, the new prosecution insisted that the case was not completely unraveling, that they believed the children, and that she knows that the court and jury will believe the children too. Because that's what this court does. We believe children.
Okay.
So parents of the McMartin preschoolers were also publicly announcing their opinions, especially our friendly voice of reason from before, Bob Curry. He said that it was unforgivable and that the DA had dropped the charges and that there was evidence of 1,200 abused children with 800 having medical evidence to back it up.
Those are outlandish claims.
Also,
how many kids
didn't
go to
match
this daycare?
any of the fucking numbers we just had before that the police are saying. No. There's 7 teachers, not that many.
Just Curry spicing it up over there.
Yep. So, and like, I realize
I'm
glad
you ignored that terrible joke.
It was horrible. I'm also not saying we shouldn't believe children.
No.
You just need to look at context and nuance is important.
It's not like these are like written, like if you have the videos of the interviews, then you can go back and be like, yes, the children are saying words, but they are not the words that they want you to think these children are saying. Like, if it's being force-fed to them and led, and like, yeah.
Yep. So, finally, the trial began in 1987. Sans testimony from the ultimate Karen, Judy Johnston.
Okay.
The prosecution...
dead.
Yeah, she died. So, the prosecution brought up less than a dozen of the original children to testify in the case at court.
Okay.
So, it fell all the way to under 12.
From 361?
Yep.
Okay.
And the prosecution also brought along 7 medical witnesses. So they got 7 medical experts.
Yep.
The defense attempted to bring in a matching number on Ray and Peggy's behalf, but the judge put a limit to their medical experts of 1.
Seems unfair, but okay.
It was to save time. But the jurors didn't know that.
The pretrial went on for 3 years, but now we're looking to button this thing up.
Yeah. So the juries didn't know that they had a limit on their medical experts that the defense was allowed. And so the prosecution made sure at the summation of the trial that they had more experts than the defense had. So their evidence is more critical.
Yeah.
So the jurors were treated to testimony from the aforementioned Dr. Hager. She was then followed up by the doctor who trained her, and they displayed slides of those photographs with the evidence of trauma.
Okay.
Which would also be traumatic for
everybody.
Okay. Nowadays, I think if you are a part of a really gruesome, like within the last couple of years, they finally realized if you're a part of a gruesome case, the jury should probably have some therapy offered afterwards for PTSD.
Probably, that's a very good idea.
Yeah, that was a new thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
So next we cue Ray's defense attorney. His name is Danny Davis. He's a badass.
Okay.
Danny countered the doctors by asking separately each of them to show him the evidence of trauma on different slides from just private parts. They were like, hey, show me where this damage is that you think is evidence of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
They pointed to 2 different spots. They couldn't give him an accurate spot. They were both of them said different areas.
Nice.
So, boom.
Shadow of doubt.
Yes, shadow of doubt. He debunked your experts. 2 out of your 7 experts. So Mike dropped Danny. So after hearing from 124 witnesses, it was finally Ray's turn to take the stand. Naturally, Ray defended himself when he was asked if he ever touched a child. He said never. And when his grandma, Virginia, was interviewed, she got spicy. She yelled at the prosecutor for calling her a liar and that she had never seen such evil people.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, in court. This is a grandma, right? She's overweight. She looks like she belongs in the Midwest. Short, gray, curly hair.
Just letting him have it.
70 some odd years old. And the woman was like, you knew that Ray, that you let Ray touch children. And she was like, you're a liar. It was amazing. She's literally jumped out of her chair.
Well, she had 3 years of just stewing and waiting to get her chance to tell
and no house and no business. They were kind enough to reinstate her license.
Yeah.
Because at that point, she didn't even have her teaching license anymore. So she thought she was done forever.
Yep.
So out of desperation, the prosecution, who was known for using jailhouse informants, brought in a man named George Freeman. Freeman insists that Ray was brought into a lunch cell to share with George. And here, Ray willingly confessed all of his crimes to George, testifying that he wound up... oh my gosh. George wound up testifying that Ray told him that he'd been making smut films since he was 14 years old.
Okay.
Yep. A former president of the Polygraph Association added to Freeman's credibility by insisting that he was one of the most truthful people he had ever met. In reality, your face.
Sorry.
I don't think your eyebrows, I didn't think they were capable of completely touching, but they almost did.
My burrow.
Your frow is very burrowed.
Yes, however you say that.
Frow is very burrowed? That's wrong too. Brow is very furrowed.
Yep.
We have a podcast.
Yeah, let's go bury a frow.
So, in reality, George had confessed to perjury in a series of other criminal cases in which he fabricated other jailhouse confessions.
Excellent.
Yep. And for those of you who don't know, perjury means lying.
Yeah. He's a very good liar, this George.
So, not really. He's been caught several times.
Yeah, that's true.
What had actually took place was Ray was forced to share a cell with Freeman, where he immediately was sus with good reason. Mm-hmm. Freeman asked about his trial. Ray smartly said, "No, I am not going to talk about my case." Only thing he said to him.
Yeah.
And then positioned himself in such a way that the security camera would be able to see that he was like sitting there, saying nothing and just being in complete awkward silence, not saying a damn thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So they have footage. They're like, he didn't even open his mouth once. So you're lying. Oh, and because I mentioned before, this is because Peggy and Ray were in the jail the entire time.
All 3 years of the pretrial.
All 3 years of the pretrial, and part of their actual trial, like half of their actual trial, because they either couldn't afford or weren't granted bail. So Peggy's bail was set at $300,000, and at first Ray wasn't granted any bail at all because, like you said,
flight
he
risk.
could fly.
Yeah.
Until after his trial started, and then it was set at $1.5 million.
Oh, what a bargain!
Yeah, in the 1980s money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a stalemate when the 9 weeks of jury deliberation was over. The jury had sat through a 3-year-long trial that cost $15 million, which is the most expensive trial in U.S. history up to that point.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they'll bill Judy.
Good luck. So Peggy Ann was found not guilty of all counts, and then Ray was found not guilty on 52 of those charges, but there were 13 left over that the jury was hung on. And it was 11-2 to acquit of all charges. Mm-hmm. And so it was a mistrial.
Okay.
One of the juries that thought he was innocent, they said that it was the videotapes of the interviews with the children that was like the clincher. Like most jurors could tell that the entire process was just bunk.
Yeah.
But of course that wasn't good enough for the media. The only thing that they highlighted were the 2 jurors that thought that he was guilty. Mm-hmm. And since the trial was like the jury was hung, they had a mistrial. And the second time round that Ray was charged, he was charged for the 6 out of 13 charges that were left.
Okay.
And guess what?
Huh.
Another mistrial.
Okay.
I know. Shocking.
I don't know which way we're going to go.
And then 7 years later, the court finally dropped all charges, deciding that there wasn't enough evidence.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Because these teenagers still hadn't come out of the woodwork saying that this random dude touched them when they were like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to this day, though, there are people that are convinced that this was a huge cover-up.
Of course.
So in 1990, parents...
I'm not saying that rings like this don't happen under different pretenses, but that random daycare being a satanic panic like mecca with flying witches and tunnels is just like, just say it out loud, people. You'll know it's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not the broke ass teachers that are touching children.
Dudes.
It's the rich ones who can pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want a conspiracy theory, let's jump on one where someone has enough money to human traffic. But I guarantee you that Ray, who is like has board shorts and surfs on his shitty surfboard in the afternoons or whatever, makes $17,000 a year, is not the guy.
No, 100%.
I'm not saying that beach bums can't be pedophiles. I'm just saying
I
we
know.
should have some evidence.
Yes. Yeah.
So To this day, there are people that are convinced it's a cover-up. And then in 1990, parents of the McMartin children hired an archaeologist to use ground-penetrating radar to find evidence of filled tunnels in the now torn-down building. So the building has been dismantled.
Okay.
There's nothing even there. There might be, something might have got built, but the original buildings aren't even
Gone.
there.
Okay.
So the archaeologist that they hired insists that he found evidence of the tunnels, but literally everyone else had disagreed. It was by that slab. There was he thought that it was underneath that concrete slab with the sewer line that fed into it and through beneath it that was installed before the slab was poured. So there's a sewer line that was installed before they even put the slab on top of it. That's what he thinks the tunnels are at.
His ground penetrating radar is going to hit that concrete slab and bounce back. He can't see what's underneath it.
No.
So if he thinks it's underneath it, that's just his hypothesis. He can't actually see what's underneath. That's not how ground penetrating radar works.
No.
I've watched 800 episodes of Expedition Unknown.
You're
I know
an expert, duh.
Yeah. I know all about GPR. Come on now, mow the lawn.
So in 1991, the Buckies successfully filed a suit against one of the parents for slander, and they won.
Yeah.
They were awarded $1 whole in damages.
What? One?
One. I think it was one apiece. There was 3 of them.
Did he file that suit as a joke? Or that's just, why $1?
They didn't ask for $1. They didn't ask for it.
That's just what
just what the court decided they would get.
Fuck off, court.
Yeah. Yeah. They weren't like, we'll be forgiving and only ask for $1 after we sue you for damages.
Yeah.
No, that's what the court decided they should
He
get.
probably sued him for like back pay. That's probably all he fucking wanted.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
And how fucked are you when it comes to like job prospects and stuff?
I would say that
he went into hiding. 6 years after he got acquitted, he did an interview with Larry King and then immediately went into hiding. And then the documentary that I watched on it from the ID, he was interviewed in it, and this was released very recently.
Yeah.
I think like 2017 or something like that. Like, so he literally went into hiding for that long before he finally spoke to somebody again.
That's crazy.
He said that he's pretty sure they all have PTSD from it.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
And that they both, him and his grandmother and his mom all had really bad mental breakdowns multiple times through the years.
That Key lady fucked up hundreds of children.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Are we?
Yep. So there was...
Right now?
Yep.
Okay.
In 2005, one of the children, in the article I read, they made sure to specify that the child is now an adult. So...
Yep.
Yeah. They were like, in 2005, like one of the children in the parentheses, it said grown.
Yeah.
Like, okay, are you sure? He retracted all allegations of abuse, saying that they lied, and any time that he had answered a question that the interviews didn't like, they would just ask again, encouraging them to give an answer that they were looking for.
Yeah.
And he said that he'd done it because it knew it was something that his parents wanted them to do.
Yeah.
On the flip side of the coin, though, a student, as recently as 2014, she was a victim. She told Oxygen that she was molested at the hands of Ray Bucky, and he took away her childhood. So there are some people that are so fucked up from it and have PTSDs. Have such implanted memories, like these recovered memories, where they're convinced.
That's like some stuff, like when you're growing up, you can't remember if it was a dream or a memory.
Yeah.
Like you get like...
It's that vivid. And when you're that young and your brain is that
Yeah.
spongy and active and those synapses are firing that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just the Buckies and the McMartins.
I was convinced our neighbor growing up had a bowling alley in his basement for like 6 years. It was just a fucking dream I had.
That's so bizarre.
And I didn't know it until I went into his basement, like, because we were like helping him move something. Or like get a car in there. He had next to my parents' house.
Is it a walkout basement?
It's a walkout basement with double doors, and he had a Mustang, and he would like winterize it there.
Oh yeah, that's the weird one that like patrols.
He's not weird.
Doesn't he patrol his property with a gun?
He walks around with his dog. He used to, and he'd shoot like rabbits and shit.
Okay, that makes it way more normal.
He's not a fucking he's not a psycho.
Not much of a doomsayer.
No, he had a garden, so he would like shoot pests, and he had
we know that now. We get it.
And he had like fruit trees and stuff, so he would like just like
take out the squirrels,
like check on his fences and stuff. Yeah. No, he's just a single dude. Like, so he like had us move like I think it was like a fridge. I don't know. It was me and my dad when we were like, I was a young, like a teenager ish, and we walked in his basement, and there's like a long hallway, which in my brain is where, like, there was, because a bowling, and I don't fucking know why I thought, but anyway, forever.
What made you think that?
Okay. So that's not the first time I was in his basement, which sounds creepy. It's not. I picked rocks out of his field for a summer because he had a field that he mowed down a little and he wanted to till it up and make it grass.
Okay.
So he paid me by the bucket, and I had 2 friends help me at separate times, paid me by the bucket of rocks to pick rocks out of his like field essentially.
Yeah.
So he would left his basement unlocked, and because he had a fridge down there with like bottles of water and shit.
Right. So that you could get something if you needed something.
I was like fucking like 7 or 8 when I did this shit.
Look.
I should not have been, I mean, granted, the 90s, but I was picking buckets of rocks out of a field in the summer. I am way too pale for that shit, for one. And there wasn't like sunscreen. Like, there was sunscreen.
Nobody wore it. They were like, throw some baby oil on you. You look real good afterwards. Here's some lemon juice, lighten up your hair.
That is the 4th of July. There's pictures of me with my cousins from France because they were home. Sitting on our front steps, me and my cousin Andrew, I have gauze over both of my arms. Oh, no. Because my triceps burnt so bad that they were pus. They were giant pus balls.
Because like you can get blisters from sunburn.
They were blisters the size of my hand on both of my arms. So I had like pads over. I was wearing like a fucking whatever. Like,
we should have you checked for skin cancer.
I had like a shitty like Pistons jersey on, and I have these 2 patches on my arms. Anyway.
Oh my God. We've told enough stories.
That is the long story of why, from that memory, I had a dream about him having a bowling alley in his basement. And then forever I thought it was true until years later I went back and I was like, that ain't fucking true, you weirdo.
So you totally can relate to these children is what you're saying.
100%.
You know exactly where they're coming from. Yes. So this forced people, all of this, the whole McMartin case, forced people to reevaluate how children are interviewed, even though McFarland's interview style was already against an established LA police protocol.
And now they waterboard. Just kidding.
That was the 90s. That's in Guantanamo Bay.
What is it?
Guantanamo Bay?
Nope.
No.
You flipped the M and the N again.
Fuck me.
Guantanamo?
Yep.
There you go.
The place where we torture people.
I can't even say it the way you said it wrong.
I'm sorry. Nope, we don't want it to look.
Keep going. Read your story later.
Oh my gosh. So they already had established protocol on how they should interview children, and McFarland was like, yeah, fuck it. We're going to do it this way.
Well, she didn't. She wasn't a police officer or a therapist or anything.
So now there are studies proving the suggestibility of children and protocols adjusted to let children do all of the talking in interviews. And there are now laws in California that allows children to be interviewed for court testimony off-site so that they don't have to be traumatized by giving testimony in court.
Okay.
And some other fun side facts, because I know you're a big fan of fun facts.
Mm-hmm. If you've listened to a Patreon episode.
I figured I'd end it the way that you normally end yours.
Yes.
So the media coverage in this case, one LA reporter was known for presenting a very heavy, biased, unchallenged view of the parents' claims.
Okay.
That reporter would later wound up having a romantic fling with Key McFarland. And the editor of the LA Times was later engaged to the prosecutor. So, yep.
Everybody just shitting where they eat, or whatever expression we used last episode.
And we discussed in the last episode about how media rapidly fed into the Satanic Panic because it made money, because it got eyes on television.
100%.
So, yay, Satanic Panic, everybody.
Yay.
That's the McMartin case.
We have more Satanic Panic next week?
Yeah, we're doing it this whole month.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Is it going to be worse than this?
Yes, because there's an actual victim.
Okay, but is it less about children? Oh,
that's not an option because that was the heart of Satanic Panic.
Okay, good.
I can change. I could find not
no. You've got a plan. I just need to be more drunk next time. I had like a buzz when we started, and you ruined that quickly. No, it's fine. It's
I'm
not
sorry.
Your fault.
It is. You asked for it.
Beth asked for it.
So sources. Wikipedia, mostly for a timeline and for better sources that are linked below. And then history.com, This Day in History, the McMartin Preschool Trials, Investigation ID article, What You Need to Know About the Bizarre McMartin Preschool Satanic Sex Abuse Trials, and the ID channels show The Crimes That Changed Us, Season 1, Episode 3.
Okay.
And then Oxygen.com article, everything you need to know about the infamous McMartin Preschool sex abuse case mentioned in Outcry. And that is the McMartin Preschool trial.
Travesty.
How do you feel?
I feel like I need to
lay down.
Yeah, do some breathing exercises, maybe go outside for a minute.
Touch some grass.
Do something. Yeah, I don't know.
Deep diaphragmatic breathing, everybody.
But instead, I'll probably go play video games with my friends and just forget this ever happened.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you care that much about our time that we spend together.
I love most of these.
You're gonna
this
love
one
the
is
next
just,
one.
it's just frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
It's just you just want to shake people.
Yeah. And the thing that I think people don't realize is we're supposed to be smarter now, right? And we know so much more about things right? And so people assume that we know everything and that things like this can't happen. Things like this happened back in the 1600s when people were stupid, right? No, this shit happens now. It happened in the 60s, it happened in the 80s, and it's happening again.
Yep.
So, be aware, I suppose.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, if you've made it this far.
Congrats.
Yep.
We'll be back next week.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oof, that was terrible. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.